People ask why cat lovers get so defensive. But that's not the real question. The real question is, what happens when you refuse to be the kind of person who needs to be needed? Your preference for cats didn't make you difficult. It showed you something most people are afraid to admit about themselves. Some animals reflect who we want to be. By the end of this, you'll understand why choosing cats isn't about being antisocial, and why the thing you've been judged for was actually you seeing through the performance. There's a version of this story people tell. Cat people are introverted. Dog people are extroverted. One preference means you're warm, the other means you're cold. Simple, neat, wrong. The true version, as with most things, is bigger and stranger and sadder. Sadder than what they write down in the psychology journals. In the true version, there's something about control that no one wants to name. You can kick a dog and he will come back. A cat will exit. A cat can't be dominated. Therefore, the person who hates cats hates something they can't control. This is what people noticed. Not all people, but the ones paying attention. Someone once said you can't trust a man who doesn't like cats. Not because cats are better, but because the refusal reveals something. A cat loves you because it wants to, not because it has to. And some people can't bear that kind of freedom in another living thing. Now here's what most people miss. When you chose cats, you weren't choosing an animal, you were choosing a mirror. Something that reflects back your need for autonomy, your resistance to performance, your belief that love shouldn't require submission. The psychology studies will tell you cat people score higher in openness, lower in agreeableness, more likely to question authority. These sound like statistics. But they're not. They're confessions. Because what the research is really saying is this: you don't perform enthusiasm you don't feel. You don't pretend to need constant validation. You don't mistake obedience for love. And in a world that runs on performance, that makes you dangerous. But here's where it gets fascinating. The judgment you felt your whole life. The accusations of being cold, distant, unfeeling. Those weren't about you at all. They were about the person doing the judging. About what they need from others to feel secure. A study once looked at people who actively dislike cats, not people who prefer dogs. People who feel something close to hatred for an animal that never asked for anything. What the researchers found wasn't about cats at all. It was about control, insecurity, the need to be the center of someone else's world. Dogs will love you even if you're cruel. Cats won't. And that difference, that's the whole story. Now, this doesn't make you better. It makes you different. You chose an animal that requires you to earn its affection, that won't pretend enthusiasm it doesn't feel, that operates on its own terms, its own routine, its own mysterious sense of time. People who love cats describe the same experience. Their cats wake them 1 minute before the alarm, wait by the door 3 minutes before someone arrives home, follow routines so precise it's almost frightening. This isn't randomness, this is intelligence that doesn't need your approval to function. And here's what that taught you. Love doesn't require dependency. Affection doesn't require performance. Connection doesn't require one person to diminish themselves so the other can feel needed. The research shows cat people score lower in agreeableness, but agreeableness is just another word for compliance, for going along, for not questioning the structure everyone else accepts without thinking. You weren't being difficult. You were being awake. There's a reason the same personality traits show up again and again. Introversion, yes, but also openness to experience, creativity, independence, a resistance to rigid schedules and external demands. These aren't flaws. These are the traits of people who think for themselves. And cats are like oxygen to some people, soft and warm and present. Right there when you're sick, when you're broken, when you need them most. Not because you commanded it, but because they chose it. The value of things increases the harder they are to obtain. This is true of trust, true of respect, true of a cat's affection. So when someone judges you for preferring cats, remember this: they are not judging your pet. They're judging your refusal to play the game. The game where love means need, where connection means control, where being valued means being useful. You saw through that, probably when you were young, maybe without words, and you chose differently. The question isn't why cat people seem distant. The question is why distance became the measure of someone's worth, when all you ever wanted was something real.